Welcome back to BBB Adventures and the Builder Series at Frank's Place. This episode will be a continuation of the project we started to refresh Luna, our 1962 Corvair Greenbrier camper van. We covered the scope and goals of this project in part 1 of this Lunar Refresh series, so if you're interested in what we're attempting to accomplish, you can go back and watch that episode. In our last episode, we successfully repaired the damaged threads on the body mount point for the rear suspension where I'd broken a bolt removing the assembly. We also installed the new bushings in the rear control arms, getting them ready to reinstall on Luna. This episode finds us at Frank's Place on April 22nd, which means there are 52 days left before we need to drive Luna to Wisconsin for the National Corvair Convention. Well, welcome back to Frank's Place. I can't remember where we left off. I actually took a few days off. I took a little trip to go to a retirement party for my buddy, so I haven't been in the shop in about 3 or 4 days. But quick update on some stuff. I think we covered the fact that I got new brake shoes, new brake drums for the rear. I'm starting to get all of the parts that I ordered in. Most of these come from a place called Clark's Corvair Parts. They specialize in Corvair parts, but these are more brake parts. These are the rubber hoses. And if you've got a car if you've got a classic car and you haven't replaced these rubber brake hoses yet, that's something you need to put on your list. Because if you do not want one of those failing in an old car that has a single master cylinder, you'll be in deep trouble. So anyway, bunch of different parts. I got a new flywheel in that box and a new clutch plate. A bunch of the parts that I had sandblasted. I painted a bunch of these engine shrouds I've painted. Some of these need to get some rubber gaskets on them still, so I'll be working on that. I ordered a new pilot bushing, or new throwout bearing and a pilot bushing. Those things got to be done. I got to figure out how to get this transmission and differential cleaned up. I got to determine if there's a leak up here because there's a lot of wet stuff. So over here, I've been cleaning on some parts. This is the pressure plate for the clutch. It's in good shape. I don't think I took any before pictures, which was dumb, but this is the bell housing, and I have been working on cleaning that. It was nasty. The first thing I did is I took it outside and used a bunch of foamy engine cleaner and soaked it and sprayed it and soaked it. And now I've got carb cleaner and I'm on my hands and knees and I'm taking these wire brushes and I'm cleaning up. I've been working on that for about 2 hours today. Since I didn't do a very good before and after, I'll do this. So this feature that a bolt goes through to hold this to the differential, I've done this side. And this side I still need to do. So hopefully you can see how nasty and dirty and greasy and nasty that is. So I'm gonna work until it's as clean as this side. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this as clean as possible before I install it back in the car. But today I'm going to try to finish that. There's some stuff under here in the engine compartment or underneath of the car that is really easily accessible right now, and I want to wire brush that, get the surface rust off, repaint that. So I may start working on that today. I really would like to get that bell housing done, get the bell housing reinstalled, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this engine 90 degrees up on top of that bell housing. Then I can start replacing all of the various gaskets. I'm going to take this assembly off and replace that gasket. I'm going to take this assembly off and replace that gasket. Oh, and all the pushrod tubes. So really, there's quite a bit of resealing I need to do to this engine. And so I would like to get started on that sooner than later. Okay, well, that's the quick update. Hi. Whew, well, we took this window. There's a
ventilator window.
Yeah, it's really, what do they call it? Wing window. Is that what they call them? There's a wing window here. We took that assembly out. Then we took the door or the window out of here. And now we're replacing this channel because it's all wore out. And these things, which are called fuzzies, which are all wore out. So we're doing all of this.
You can see me in the mirror.
But I'll tell you what, I'm sure you can't see it, but if you could look inside this door, you would see that this thing is shockingly good shape for a 60-year-old car.
Just a little dirty.
Yeah, I'll probably stick the vacuum hose in there. I gotta replace that little bumper that's down there. I got a new one. But when you do stuff like this, you always get a new project, because this is the channel that was in here that this stuff goes in. And now it's all rusty, so now I have to wire brush
Surface
this.
rust. It's just surface rust.
Yeah, but I can't put it back in like this.
No.
It's beyond my capabilities, so now I have to clean this up. So, a never-ending project.
Getting the windows out was difficult, though.
It's a bitch.
Yeah. We didn't turn the camera on because we were really focused. And
Maybe we'll film the other one.
maybe we'll film the other one now that we know how to do
It'll
it.
look like we're pros. That's easy. You just undo these things and twist this thing and pull this thing. And we knocked a bolt. We dropped some stuff in the door. And if you don't have these, people, if you don't have these little retrievers, this one has a magnet on the end, and this one has
Grabbers.
grabbers. I mean, when you drop shit in a door like this, if you don't have these things, you're what they call SOL, which stands for sorry.
Okay.
This is the wing window assembly that we took out of that door, and yeah, I haven't ordered these yet, but this rubber is just brittle as can be, and it just needs to be replaced. It's in bad shape, so I got to order that rubber, and then I ordered this new channel. This is the new channel. Yeah, it looks like the old one, except this one's all riveted together, and so this thing's riveted on, and
Those are brackets that we need to attach it back to the vehicle.
so am I just going to use pop rivets? Pop rivets aren't as strong as these rivets, but on the other hand, I don't know that it's under a lot of stress, you know.
It's probably not.
So I'll pop rivet it, but then I guess you put the head of the pop rivet on this side and hope that it doesn't rub on the window when the window goes up and down. I don't know. Everything is harder than it seems like it should be. The parts just keep coming in, so I'm staging them all here on the cover of the El Camino, trying to be real careful not to scratch the car, but the shocks are in, and some more seals and gaskets and hardware, brake lines, window channel, so lots of parts coming in. One of the parts I got in was the new rear springs. So those are the old ones, those are the new ones. You can notice that the new ones are a little taller, but also the wire diameter that the spring's made out of is different diameter. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a little surprised that the wire diameter is smaller. So hopefully those work out, but we're gonna try them. But they sure look nice. There's a few of the engine parts. The Corvair engine has a lot of different shrouds and sheet metal parts that go around the engine to help control the airflow. And I want to paint them all. So this is this is a piece that sits in the engine shroud, and it's rusty, so I'm sanding it by hand with this sandpaper, getting the big chunks of rust off. Then I'm going to treat the rust, and then I will prime and paint these. And so I'm doing that with a bunch of these little various parts. This is the oil filler tube. This is where you check the oil. This pokes out the back of the car. I'm going to paint this. So that's what I'm working on today. Cleaning up these parts. Going to get ready to paint them like I have done. I didn't film it, but I did the same thing with a bunch of the other parts. I'll show you what those look like. Yeah, and yeah, there's lots of, this thing is a bunch of little projects go on different stages. I work on something, then I have to wait for parts. Then I start something else and work on that. And then I get to a stopping point on that. And then I start another little project. Here's one that's in process. This is the new window channel. It goes here. I gotta drill and I gotta remount all of this hardware. It's riveted. I didn't have the rivets. So I have ordered those, and so when those come in, I'll figure out a way to mark this piece where the rivet holes go and figure out how to rivet all that together. I'm sure I'll film that. So this is a project like I was talking about. This isn't a holding pattern until I get the rivets. So there's a bunch of sub projects going on. If we go back over to the motor, I'm waiting on a bell housing seal, which is going to allow me to put the bell housing on. Then I can put this motor on an engine stand. Then I can do some of the other sealing of this motor that I need to do, get the motor ready to put back on. I got a few seals I need to replace in this. I've got U-joints I need to replace still. I'd like to clean this up, although I'm finding it really hard to figure out how to do that because I don't want to get it wet. I don't want to take this outside and spray it with water. But it's got some really caked on stuff. So I thought about dry ice blasting it, but it turns out there isn't a vendor in Auto Falls that really does that. I don't know. I'm still thinking about how I'm going to get that cleaned up a little bit. Back to sanding the little parts and preparing them for paint, so I'm going to keep working on that, and I'll check in with you later. It's several hours later. I'm outside of Frank's place. I've got these parts sanded, cleaned up, degreased, wiped them down with cleaner than alcohol. There's a little bit of wind. I hope it doesn't cause me too much trouble, but I'm about to prime these and get these painted black. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera off. You guys have all watched spray paint before, so anyway, I'm gonna finish priming those and get them ready for a top coat. Well, while I wait for the primer to dry on those parts I'm painting outside, I'm expecting this last seal I need soon, like next day or so. So I'm gonna be able to put the bell housing back on, but let me take this off. I gotta clean this surface. This is the surface of the bell housing. And this is, these Corvair engines are made out of aluminum. And this is not, you know, the aluminum that cars are made out of today. This is, I believe this aluminum is quite a bit softer than the aluminum that engines are made out of today. Chevrolet was really at the forefront of aluminum casting and building aluminum engines in high volume productions when the Corvair came out. So you have to be a little careful. You don't want this surface to get scratched. You don't, at least not scratched deeply, and you don't want to make this surface uneven. So you can't really get after this with metal scrapers or abrasives or anything like that. So I have these plastic razor blades, and I slowly, what I do is I just slowly work it, scraping off this gasket, so you can sort of see that's coming off. It's a long, laborious process. I'm not going to film all of it, but that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this plastic blade, and they don't last very long. I'll probably go through 4 or 5 cleaning this surface, and I'm going to go around here, but I'm going to put this back because I don't want any, these are the timing gears. So this is the camshaft, this is the camshaft, this is the crankshaft, and so these are the timing gears, and there's really no, you can actually see I got some stuff in there already. So when I'm done, I'm gonna have to spray this with carb cleaner, make sure I get all of that cleaned up before I reassemble these. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna scrape on this gasket for a while, and then I'm gonna go put a top coat of paint on those parts. Like I said, this is a whole bunch of little projects going on all over the place. The idea is everything sort of converges to a level of completeness and you can get this thing put back together. I'm a little worried about time because, yeah, the days are clicking by, and I really do want to take this to the convention, so I better get busy. One of the things that was on my interior refresh list was the steering wheel. So I've taken the steering wheel off, and I'm going to restore it, which basically means I'm going to paint it. And the reason I need to do that is, I don't know if you can see it really well, but it's dirty, and there's something about the surface of the steering wheel that I can clean it, and then as soon as I drive it, it picks up grease and oil from my hands or whatever, and it never looks good. So I have been sanding it, and you can see I've made some progress. So I'm sanding it down. This is an example of the dirt, you know, and it should be clean and white like this. So there I'm sanding it down. I'm using a combination of things. I'm using this wire brush to sort of, you can see it takes the first layer of dirt off. Hopefully you can see that. Then I've got this really aggressive Scotch-Brite pad, then a medium Scotch-Brite pad, and a fine Scotch-Brite pad, and then I'm using some 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm basically just going to sand it down. Once I get that done, and I think it's down to the surface that I want to repaint, I will probably hit it with 600 grit to make sure it's really smooth. Then we'll prime it, and we'll see what it looks like. Once we get the primer on there, we'll be able to see if there's any imperfections that we need to work on. And then we'll paint it white. Okay, I got the steering wheel all sanded. And I've got it set up out here to paint. And I've taped the areas I don't want to have painted. There's metal parts inside this hub, the steering wheel hub, that are part of the horn mechanism, so you definitely don't want to get paint on them. So I'm going to put this plastic prep, I'm going to wipe it down, which is a cleaner, and I am going to prime it with this universal bonding primer. It's supposed to bond to anything. The wind's coming in gusts today, so in order to get a decent, in order for the wind not to blow the spray everywhere, I need this windshield. I just want to put a light coat on so I can see where there might be defects. It's not a very good day to paint. Wind gusts. But I wanted to get a first coat of primer on this so I could put my eyes on where I needed some additional work. When I do the final painting, I will either come out here in the morning or I will rig up something inside so I don't have to deal with this wind. Usually it's not windy in the morning, but I like to be outside where the light is good. So anyway, I think I got... Hey, Disco! Don't chase the weeds, get over here. What are you doing? What are you doing, silly doggy? You need to sit down. You need to sit down. Sit down. No, just don't chase the things. Sit down. Sit. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Okay. Today, I believe this is the first reassembly step for the van.
Except for the brake line.
Oh, except for the brake lines. Let me show you those. I replaced the brake lines that go from this junction. So this goes forward to the primary cylinder that's connected to the brake pedal. And I replaced it from this junction to there. And this one goes around this cross member and over into this thing eventually. It'll go in there. And then there's the rubber hose to the brake drum. So those were pretty rusty, and you know, it was never going to be easier to get to them with that cross member gone, so I put them in. So that was step one. Here is the rear cross member, the rear suspension cross member. It's been powder coated. It's got all new bushings, and it is ready to be reassembled back to the car. I've got The attachments, all the new rubber bushings and screws and everything. These are all grade 8 bolts. These are all ready to go, pre-staged. I'll put them up on the ramp so they're easy to get to, so that while we're holding this thing up, we can easily get to them. I got my wrench ready. I think we're ready to lift this thing up and reattach it. So that's what's next. But doesn't it look all brand newish? So nice. I'll give you a little screenshot right now of what it looked like when we pulled it out of the car.
Disco the shop dog is here today, and he wants all of our attention.
100%.
100%. So when you hear him barking while we're installing this cross member,
Mostly.
he's gonna be just like that. Just like that, aren't you, Disco?
He just wants to go outside. It's a beautiful day.
Just wants to be outside. We'll go outside later, Disco, but right now we have to put the cross member up.
So we're gonna lift the cross member. We're gonna hold it in where the two rubber bushings go up in here. Then I'm gonna get this started on this side and this one started on that side so that it'll roughly hold it. Then you can stabilize it. Then I'll put the middle ones in, and then we'll tighten them a little bit at a time so that it finds its center in the van. Because remember, this cross member basically controls the position of the rear wheels, left to right. So we want it to find its happy place. Okay, here we go.
Don't bump the camera.
Okay, now I'm gonna come behind. This goes there.
You gotta go some this way. Oh, I can use my head.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wait. Oh.
No, let's sit it down.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh.
You can't do it?
I can.
Okay, well.
But when you say, oh geez, it makes me say, oh my gosh.
Well, this is deeper than I thought. It's.
Okay, I can't do it. I
Okay,
can't do it.
okay.
I think if I put something to cushion my head and to give it lift. Can you set it down?
I can hold it.
I think we should set it down.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna use something on my head.
It'll be easier to do these first.
It'll give more lift. Well, my head's gonna be in the way.
Okay.
No, that's not gonna work.
Okay.
I'm open to
Okay, help me get it up there.
Oh, geez.
Oh, sweetie,
You know what?
don't panic.
I'm suffering from vertigo too.
Okay. Ooh.
In here?
Why don't you get it staged?
Oh shit.
Oh shit, what? What's oh shit? Did you drop it?
Yes, inside there.
Okay. It's not going anywhere.
Are you sure? Oh my gosh.
It's really gonna help if you try not to panic. It's... No, it's not.
Fighting?
I don't know, sweetie. Not so far. Can't tell why.
Okay. Well, I was able to find a position where I could hold it. Oh yeah, I can see how that's making a difference. Put that rubber bushing flush with the mount.
Okay, let's try it again.
Sounds like it's cutting now. Oh.
No, because I can't see. I need some way to. We're gonna have to hold this better somehow.
Can we put a 2x4 on the thing?
Let me see if I can get this side now that I can hold it like this.
This is hard.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah,
reacting.
sound effects.
Yep.
Unhelpful, but sound effects. Okay. The problem is I've got the wrong extension. Okay, we're gonna set it down so we can get a different tool.
Okay.
Got it?
Feedback would be nice.
I think it's like on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, I really wanted to put that one in first. That's the one that's stripped.
Right.
So I'm gonna loosen this one.
How much?
I'm gonna take it out.
Oh, geez.
That one's in.
Oh, that one's in.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said
What?
you wanted to do that one first.
I
So
do.
thought you
I'm
were-
gonna loosen this one.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go loosen and reinstall that one.
Okay.
Then that one will be first, and then I'll reinstall this one.
Okay.
is. This side's
Okay.
now
Yep, I feel it.
loose.
I feel the weight on my head. Now I'm gonna feel all the weight on my head, right? I'm afraid it's
I'm gonna help you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this feels better. Feels like it's not binding up as much.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, where's my socket? Give it back. Let me look at what that looks like in there. It looks like it's going in straight. Okay.
Looks like it's going in straight. That's good news.
I probably could have just done this by myself.
No, I don't think so. You took it off by yourself though, didn't you?
It fell. I had the van down.
Oh.
And when that, I was working that last bolt, and when it broke,
Yeah.
the whole thing just fell onto the ground. But the van was in. Didn't fall very far.
And that wasn't freshly powder coated.
No, it's freshly rusted. Okay, let me.
Can I let go?
Yep. Boy, it really likes to take my.
You know what? I don't see any scratches.
Good. That's good news.
No scratches.
Okay, that's enough for those.
For now.
Why does it?
Do you torque them?
Yeah,
It keeps stealing your socket.
I don't understand why it's like that.
I worked up a sweat doing that.
Oh, look, you can access this from here. Maybe that would have been easier.
No way, really?
See the hole here?
Oh my gosh. Can access that bolt from the side.
I don't know if that would have really helped.
I don't know
If
if
we
it
had a
would have
third
helped either.
person, perhaps.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only 80% confident I got these brackets, the left and right.
Do you want to get them wet again?
No, I think it's okay.
What difference would it make? Do they look symmetrical?
They're not.
Oh.
You got this weird fold thing in them.
How will you know?
Well, I'm going to get them roughly. I'm going to get this gap closed up. And I'm going to see if they go under the nuts correctly.
Oh,
Looks good.
I see.
Okay. That's good. Those look like they're in there right to me.
The cross member's so pretty, I can see a reflection in it.
That's my reflection?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just me that's pretty.
Do you have to torque these?
Yeah. That's going to make me really nervous. Because this is a thread repair.
Yeah.
If it pulls that thread repair out, we might as well just take the van to the scrapyard. 60 foot-pounds. Okay, my brand new, super shiny, super califragilistic torque wrench. Okay, so it says to do these simultaneously, but I only have one torque wrench.
Huh. So maybe go 30?
Yeah,
30?
that's what I'm gonna do. Boy, it's making me nervous. so nervous.
You are?
Yeah, I feel like that thread repair might spin. 55. Okay. I'm gonna torque these other ones a little bit. Let me go look at, make sure the spec's the same. 5. Jesus. 47. 48. 50. 49. 47. What? At this point, I realized there was something seriously wrong with the tightening of the suspension cross member mounting bolts. The bolts were turning, but the torque wasn't going up. It was actually decreasing, indicating that the threads were stretching, which indicates that the threads were probably stretching, which happens just prior to failure. Stay tuned for our next episode when we investigate what's going on and look for solutions for this new serious issue. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the ride.